Awesome. Good afternoon, everyone. Sarah Fulton here from the Millennial Summit team. I am so excited to be joined by a really dynamic group of women today. So there is a nonprofit that serves our community here in Delaware called the YWCA Delaware. And we have the executive director, Stephanie will be here to talk with us, as well as a couple of other members of the team. So we'll introduce them as they come on. But Stephanie, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am doing as good as I can be, given the situation. I think that's, I think we're all kind of just qualifying that question when it's asked. But I'm sure that you guys have been really busy the last few months because you guys do a lot of critical frontlines work. Would you like to tell folks about YWCA?
Sure. I'd be happy to. Thanks for having us on today. And you're right, we do a lot of frontline work. Our mission is to eliminate racism and empower women. And we do that by offering programs in four buckets, if you will. So one is economic empowerment. The other is health and safety, housing security, and racial and social justice. And if I may, there's a couple misconceptions that are very typical about YW, and so I want to dispel those. And one is we are not the YMCA. We have wonderful partnerships with us. They are our allies in many things. We don't have a swimming pool. We don't offer childcare. We don't have a fitness center. But what we do have is we're a statewide organization. We offer home ownership counseling to first-time homebuyers, financial coaching, entrepreneurship and career development programs. We have a sexual assault response center, a homeless shelter for families, and we are advocates for racial and social justice. So we do a lot. We served about 6,000 people last year. The other misconception is that we only serve women, and that is not true. We're an inclusive organization. We serve whoever needs our services and would benefit from our services. So we've been around a long time. This is our 125th anniversary this year. So thanks again for inviting us today.
Yeah, that's awesome. I have actually just recently, I took a tour of your facility over in West Center City. I don't remember what street that's on, but you have an awesome facility there that you guys are doing really cool work. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So over at 8th and Madison, we operate the Home Life Management Center, and that is our facility that provides emergency and transitional housing for families. So every family that comes into Home Life is literally homeless. And we, bring them in on an emergency basis. And for some of our families, they really just need a short period of time. They need some case management and some access to other services that we help make those connections for them. And so they only need to be with us for a couple weeks, and they can get back on their feet, out living independently. Others of our families need a lot more help. And so for them, we offer a transitional program, and they can actually stay with us up to 2 years, although very few stay that long. But the intensity of the case management, the programs and supports that we provide, I mentioned some of them earlier, our homeownership, rental, financial coaching, career readiness, entrepreneurship, all the services that YWCA provides are available there for our families. And if they need something that we can't provide, then we make sure that they get those services from the community.
That's awesome. And it sounds like now more than ever, you guys are probably in need of donations and volunteers. So how have you been working with the community during this time? And what are some things what are some of your needs, and how can we help? I know you've got other people here from your team who can talk about that, and I'm sure that we'll probably get there later this afternoon. But just right off the bat, we've got a lot of millennials who are constantly trying to figure out their place in the community and how they can give back. So what are some of the things that are top of mind for your organization right now during this pandemic?
Well, there's really lots of ways to help. I mean, certainly, there's by, making a financial contribution, but also by being a champion for our work and being an advocate for our work, following us on social media, uh, sharing content with all your contents. It's really important. I mentioned earlier that, we served 6,000 people last year, and yet we still find that there are a lot of people that don't know that we're here and what we have to offer. And frankly, it's because we have like zero marketing budget. So we are really, really dependent on the goodwill of others who, help connect people with us from word of mouth. And social media is fabulous, provides fabulous platforms to help get that word out. We do have volunteer opportunities that are always on our website. So if you visit our website, which I think is up on the screen now, you can kind of click through and see what piques your interest. And also, we're also looking for folks who are willing to, donate us their coffee money, from this week. Or, so many of us now, there's not a lot to spend our discretionary income on, right? If we were fortunate, we could go to the restaurant, or we could go to, a club or a musical performance or whatever. So we have had some folks that have said, you know what, I'm going to put those funds aside and we'll donate them to YWCA to help through this crisis side because our needs have increased.
Oh, sorry, I was muted there. Yes, I imagine that's true. And I'm sure that we can all make that small sacrifice to get involved and to give back to the community. But I know that you do have some other folks here who have some other programs that we can talk about. And you mentioned your marketing budget. I think that sometimes nonprofits have to rely on word of mouth and the good programs that they do. To get the word out about other things that their organization does. So who else do we have here? We've got some familiar faces to the Millennial Summit community here. So hi, Megan. Hi, Troy.
Hey there.
So who wants to go first?
Oh, Troy, always.
Okay. Well, you know what? I won't shy away, but thank you so much for having us here. We really appreciate it, Sarah. As you were discussing with Stephanie, that yes, the need is definitely greater. I am the director of the Entrepreneur and the Career Readiness programs called WAND, Women Achieving New Directions. And the women is inclusive of men, i.e. men in the word women. So I want to let you know that this is an opportunity for any of you that are seeking to start and pivot in your lives. COVID has had us address some realities of where we are. And some of those things are inspiring us. And then some of those things are making us question about where we are. And if any of those things are happening, what the YWCA does so pertinently and effectively is that we meet each individual where they are. So regardless of whether you are seeking to start a business or you currently own a business and you're looking for support, business development practices, and looking for an opportunity to be able to pivot towards profit, that's something that we can assist you with. Or if you are just really doing something novel and you've had a hobby and now you have determined that maybe you can make some income, do a side hustle from this.
Yeah.
We can certainly help you with that as well. If you are seeking employment and you have been unemployed for some time prior to COVID, we have support systems in place to be able to help you circumvent through that. Or if you were employed and now you find yourself uncertain about your employment, or you've been furloughed and you're not sure what you're coming back to, if there will even be upward mobility for you, we can help you transition through that. This is really a transformation process. And what we're saying is that you don't have to do that alone. YWCA is here for you and with you. You heard Stephanie mention some of those other core services that we offer. And the great thing about the YWCA is that the WAND program works in concert with those other programs. So if you are not certain about your credit and you are looking for a job, in this market, and that's something that we can support you with on both sides. If you are looking to find out how to budget more effectively, that's something that we can help you with, from a personal aspect. And maybe some of your dreams have been put aside for right now, and you just need an opportunity to engage in a platform that's supportive. We have roundtables to help you to decide, which direction you want to go in. So there's a lot going on still, and we do that virtually as well, Sarah.
Right. And I know that you guys actually have an event coming up later today.
Yeah, we do. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So we're having our employment, as you can tell, I'm getting like all like crazy about it stuff, right? So we're having our first employment town hall uh, virtually. And we have the Deputy Secretary of the Delaware Department of Labor joining us. She is going to be providing some key information about the employment landscape of where we are right now and where Delaware is going to. The ideal is that we're getting back to work together and moving forward and looking through a new lens. So with that ideal, we really, really want to be able to promote how we can support individuals. There's also going to be a panel of subject matter experts on the panel in their industries. So we have WISPIS, we have Target, we have DOT, we have the state of Delaware, and all of these organizations have open positions. So they will be speaking more about that as well. We're going to be giving some tips on self-care, how to maneuver through this process and to understand that this is really a sensitive time, but this is also a time, as you heard me say, about transition and transformation, to do a reset. So we're really excited about that. It's from 2 to 4. Registration has closed on that because we are at capacity, but we will be recording it. Yeah, we will be recording it and sharing it with the community.
Awesome. I think that's so important. There was a headline today that maybe you saw that it projects that Delaware is going to reach a crazy number of unemployment claims. I think 100,000 is what they're projecting, which is just unprecedented. And for so many people who are involved in the Millennial Summit, I know a lot of people have multiple incomes. A lot of people have that gig economy side hustle that they're reliant on because, for a lot of us who work in the nonprofit space or for people who work different wage earning jobs and are trying to go back to school, there's not really the same linear career track that maybe there was for like my parents' generation and generations before. So I think millennials are disproportionately having to navigate that now with all this COVID stuff. There are different loans and requirements, and it's just really complicated to navigate. So that's awesome that you guys are there to help guide and inspire, and that's really exciting. So thank you for shedding some light on that.
Sure.
Megan, I know that you have a completely different focus of the work that you do. Equally important, but I know we're taking a little bit of a left turn here. So tell us who you are and what you do at the YWCA.
Sure, a bit of a left turn, but still definitely, like Troy said, in the YWCA family.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much, Sarah, again, for also including us and myself in this. I'm very excited to speak. I think people closer to my generation, because I don't always get the opportunity to do that. And as you were talking just now, I'm definitely in the same boat with a lot of the things that you mentioned. So I'm here mostly today to talk about ways that millennials can get involved in some of these programs we've mentioned. If you're looking for something to do, if you're looking to give back, I want to go into more detail on some of the opportunities we have. But my role at YWCA is actually with that Sexual Assault Response Center that Stephanie mentioned at the beginning. My official job title is our Medical Community Engagement Liaison, but I do a lot of our out in the community work, doing a lot of training, community outreach, kind of building relationships, just connecting folks, like Stephanie mentioned, getting that word out there about this is who we are at YW, this is our program at SARC, these are the services we have. We are still open, we are still 24/7. That's a big thing we're pushing right now, particularly because we know for folks who are experiencing domestic or intimate partner violence, it's not really a safe time. So we definitely want to be keeping to push our helpline, push our 24/7 services, push our emergency housing and our shelters, just to make sure that folks know that whatever's going on, we're still here. Our doors are still open. Our phone lines are still running if you need help. And Stephanie also mentioned at the beginning that just sharing something like that on social media is so incredibly helpful to us. Anytime you see us sharing something about I know I just have created some new graphics just with our helpline number and explaining our services, and we're trying to focus that we're here 24/7. When you see those kind of flash across your newsfeed, even giving them a share, putting them in the groups you're in, those old like college dorm groups that we're probably still a part of on Facebook and GroupMe's, even just sharing that really goes a long way, because those are people who you never know that they need help. So using social media is for that tool for education and for advocacy is so crucially important, and it helps us so much. Like Stephanie mentioned, we really don't have a dedicated kind of mass marketing team or budget. It's really just us in the program trying to keep our services running, but also getting the word out. So even something as simple as following and sharing us across our platform is really helpful for us. I know it might not feel like a lot, might not feel like you're kind of giving back in the way we might think about, but it helps us so much because you're getting a service and getting that word out there to someone who might not know it's there. And that's really important for us.
That's something we've talked a lot about.
And there's definitely also a couple, oh, go ahead.
No, you first.
I was just going to say there's definitely a couple other ways that we're that folks get engaged. I know I definitely also fall into that boat of being at home, and I'm not a frontline worker. I can't be in hospitals, but what can I do? I am privileged and lucky enough to be employed. I definitely feel that struggle of like losing the side hustles and part-time jobs too. But I think a lot of millennials and people our age sort of fall in that boat of I am still able to help, but what can I do? So in addition to making some of those financial donations, if you can donate some things from our wish list, that's always something that we're looking towards. Or if you have something that you think might be of help, but it's not on that wish list, reach out to us, give us a call, visit our website. That link's on the screen. It's where you can find our wish list, but it's also where you can get in contact with us and our different programs. So if you have something, either physically something you can donate, if you've been making masks, for example, that skill you've acquired during this downtime and you'd like to donate some of that back, definitely just reach out to us. And we're always happy for any help or for anyone that's willing to get engaged and get involved. But there's definitely other ways to get involved that aren't just donating your time or donating your resources. I know for me too, I've been very privileged that I don't not only work for YW, but I've also taken advantage of some of those programs that Troy's mentioned. And that's a great way to get involved with us. I know right now for me, I'm working through some of our housing programming, particularly the first-time homebuyer program. I'm doing the online homebuyer education. I'm working with our housing counselors and our financial coaches, which is a great way for anyone, regardless of kind of where you are in this current climate, whether you're, like Troy mentioned, recently unemployed, you don't kind of know where your future is, or you're doing okay and you want to maximize on this time, you want to maximize kind of on this savings now that you have some of this disposable income that you're not using. Definitely take advantage of some of our programs that again are available on our website to reach out to us, and also invite us in and come visit us. I know it's going to look a little bit different right now since everything's being done virtually. But Stephanie does some really wonderful just discussions with other programs about the work we do, other ways that different organizations and corporations can support us. We also run mission tours just to learn a bit more about the core of the work that we do. Participating in some of our programs, like Troy mentioned, we have the town hall going. We've done a couple other video, online live discussions, webinar types. Our racial and social justice program has an on the menu to really dialogue to action series going on. So regardless of how you want to participate, there's always different ways and different avenues that you can get involved with us. So whether it's making that financial donation, donating your time, donating some of those physical needs from our wish list, getting involved in our programming, or even just following us and sharing our content on social media, all of those are so incredibly helpful and are really meaningful to us. I know I can say as a young professional that's kind of dipped my toe into a couple of these areas, it really does make a difference, particularly for me, young in my 20s, right out of college, doing these things with YW, participating in these programs. They really are for everyone, and they make a big difference in your life.
That is awesome. You have touched on a lot of things that I think some themes that we've talked about in the past with different guests. And one of the things that I think is really important is, nonprofits right now, and you mentioned that Stephanie does a lot of this, but like nonprofits right now, I think have a big responsibility to share their resources and to collaborate. I think there's this false assumption right now that, money's tight and it's going to be everyone fend for yourself. But I actually think that that's not really what's happening. And I'm really excited to see that here in Delaware, a lot of nonprofits are coming together and saying, how can we combine our resources? How can we be complementary to one another? And if you guys have some strengths here, how can YW supplement here? And I'm seeing a lot of really cool collaborations happening. DCF, DINA, Philanthropy Delaware, United Way, they've all really done a lot of good things in the last couple of months to reach out and connect organizations that have similar missions. So I imagine you guys rely pretty heavily on other community partners to, get out your work and your mission. And that's really cool. And I think that that's something that we should continue post-COVID. And Megan, I really also appreciated what you said about it's so easy to engage with people on social media. Just a quick like or a comment or tagging a friend who might be interested in something. That's so easy. It's so free. It's a very free way to support an organization. We had someone talked about that a couple of weeks ago. Valerie Lane was talking about how that's a really good thing that we can do for restaurants. And I think that as millennials, we think, oh yeah, follow the restaurants we like on Instagram and comment and share, but we should do that with our nonprofits too. So I hope that we can inspire some of our folks to give YWCA a like and a follow and share their content as well as other organizations. But before we wrap up, I just wanted to offer any of you the chance. If Megan, you offered some ways that you can get involved, but if you have either any other ways that we can connect our audience with the work that you're doing, or if you just have any words of advice right now that you think would be good for our millennial audience, I turn the floor back over to you folks.
Well, I did want to take a minute just to communicate a little bit more about the opportunities to participate in our racial and social justice work. It really is an opportunity not only to kind of grow and raise your own consciousness, but also, the ripple effect into the community from your own growth, and also the opportunity to engage with other folks who are like-minded and looking to affect social change and make it a more equitable society. And our racial justice program, we do offer small group dialogues about racism. We actually have recently launched them virtually. Usually they're done in person, but we need to do them virtually right now. We have a book chat coming up called Voices of Feminism, and that will be 4 different books over 4 different months. So, please visit our website, follow our social media to see how to register for Voices of Feminism. And then we also offer to groups a series of workshops on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And we call that On the Menu. And this series of workshops, again, it helps in a group setting to explore diversity, equity, and inclusion, and how to live with those principles and convey those principles in our choices and actions every day.
Well, I know my good friend Rebecca Cotto is on your team, and she's really she is doing a lot of really good work to push everyone's individual boundaries and make people have what might be uncomfortable conversations, but that are ultimately going to make our workplaces and our society way better, just more inclusive, more communicative. And so shout out to you guys as a team for really facilitating that critical dialogue.
Yeah. And I just wanted to add that this is a time for you to not just think outside the box, but to really create your own box. This is an opportune time where, it's you're being charged and challenged. So we welcome you, and we want to be able to support you in that process if you are are taking baby steps, or if you're running. And if you are looking to start a business or develop your career through job searches and workforce development, that's something that we can do from inception to implementation. We also have what's called our Aftercare University, where we continue to walk with you through the process. Even after you've gone through some of our programs, we want to make sure that there's implementation, action, and results. So definitely check us out. Again, you see the web address there. We're doing updates ongoing for our classes, for our boot camps, for our workshops. We partner with SCORE, the SBA, the WorkWise group. Our facilitators are top notch. So definitely join us, become part of the YWCA family, because that's what happens. You become part of the family, not just because you're seeking something, but because you want to belong to something greater. So we appreciate that.
I love that. Well, Megan, Troy, Stephanie, thank you all so much for taking time out of your day today. I will let you guys go because I know you do have a busy afternoon and some big events coming up, but thank you so much. And we are always happy to share any events, amplify anything, because you guys are doing awesome work and we want to share that with our folks. So thank you all so much for taking the time, and you have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Of course. All right. And
All
for
right.
everyone else watching, we will be back with some other sessions coming up later the rest of the month and going into June as we ramp up for the Millennial Summit this August. So stay tuned for more updates on that. But thanks, everyone. Talk to you later.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.